ladies, the original Read, Watch, and Wine. I'm Raya.
I'm Treva.
And Lynn.
And today we're here to bring to you my pick, our book to movie adaptation of Orion and the Dark.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn, for picking up the book.
Thank you, Lynn.
It was so cute.
It is very cute.
Is it written by?
Pop-outs too.
Is it written by?
Emma Yarlett, and it was published in 2014, I think 2015 for the US.
Yeah.
But it's a really cute book. The cover alone just makes you want to get it. Her illustrator was phenomenal. Let's see who the illustrator was.
And she spirals into that rabbit hole.
You can't read it?
No, cannot read it.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Need some glasses for that one.
We're not drinking it because we're reviewing a children's book, but we do have a wine bottle here. Tolosa, even though I haven't been drinking it, it's open water. But as a sponsor mentioned wine, this is what we're talking about today.
We don't have the publisher's name written here.
Illustrator, you mean?
Illustrator, I'm sorry, yes.
Oh,
It says designed by maybe
yeah, maybe.
Mike Julie. Something like
Maybe he's the illustrator.
Yarlett?
But I love the illustrations in this book.
that. Yeah, it's
So
really,
cute.
really cool.
I love her little pop-out arm when he reaches out to take his hand.
Oh, yeah. Should we find that page?
I will find it. Okay, well, you guys go ahead and start. I'm gonna find that page.
We're going to go ahead and get started. And I don't know if I mentioned this was my pick. Did I?
I don't know, but I won't brag about it.
I mean, I would. Because I am a cartoon head and I love children's books, especially fun, imaginary children's books. So, did you find
So
it?
it was a very cute book. I actually enjoyed reading the book. And when you read this book, you'll see that like it has all these bubbles and all this additional words that are in there, but that are not necessarily part of like the dialogue of the book. Make sure you read all of those before you watch the movie because yeah, it's all of these
They're so
little like
cute.
bubbles of information. Because when we start talking about the movie, I'll just mention it now that it was really cool because they took that bubble information to really help develop the movie. And so anyway, it ended up being really cute. But I enjoyed reading the book. It was a very quick read, nighttime read for kids. I think it could be a bedtime story.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a bedtime story or more like a motivational, stop being scared of the dark story.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with you for that like adaptation part, Treva, with the blurbs, because everybody has, well, not everybody. I did learn that not everybody has an inner monologue like I do, and a little voice in my head telling me and reading me things. But my voice, I have always heard it, her, she, whoever it happens to be at that time, more like a more obnoxious version of myself. But I do like that they were able to like do that as like the, I guess the Orion's inner monologue was like telling everything as it was happening. So what I was mentioning was the one part in the book where, ooh, this way,
Yeah.
he reaches out and like grabs his hand. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
I know it's not a pop-up book, but I didn't expect it to be there. So when I was flipping the page, I was like, oh, I'll take your hand.
That was a fun surprise. And I love pop-up books. I've always have, even when I was little. So that was a little fun surprise in the book.
Yeah. Okay, so what else did we like about the book?
It was colorful. Like I said, the illustration was great. But I thought it was a really cute story and take on how to handle the dark. Because so many kids are scared of the dark. And so it's just sort of turned it into a fun person.
Yeah, being.
Rather than sort of the shadow for you to be scared of.
Yeah,
And
I mean, like tangible. Like he could like not relate, but like have this inner conversation. Like I don't need to be scared of what could be. It's something. It's the dark.
yeah.
Tangible. Stop hitting the desk, bud.
And why he moves so fast, and so he has to move past all of these things before the light comes, so it's not so spooky like the shadow creeping over you. No, the shadow is trying to get on with it because if he doesn't move, then the other one can't move.
Right. And then it was just highlighting like the squeaky noises and all the different things that he hears in the night. Like, let's just look and see what that is because it's not really scary.
That was something that I had mentioned in my notes was I love, the other night entities like insomnia and the mysterious noises that are happening because literally all those things happen, well, for children, but also for adults. So I'll be sitting there, I'm just like, what is that? No.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Well, the insomnia one, that is me to a T. I'm laying there thinking about it. It's like, oh, well, I'm almost falling asleep. So let's think about something stupid that I said in fourth grade that's going to keep me up at night. That's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
But that one got me.
And why that comes to you in the middle of the night is what drives me crazy. Like, why did my seventh grade teacher pop in my head right now? Like, what does that have to do with? And then you go on a rabbit hole trying to understand why that happened.
So the insomnia one was very real. I know we're kind of jumping around from book to movie,
Well,
movie,
because
but it was, I guess my point in bringing that up was that the book was so good. And then this adaptation, it just brought everything that I was thinking while reading it, but also like kind of like turning the page, remembering how I wasn't really afraid of the dark as a kid, but like remembering the what ifs, the what is that, like those questions, and having them all answered in this like adaptation was awesome to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've touched on the movie, so you want to move into the movie?
Yeah, we can move to the movie. And the cast and everything.
Yeah, so the movie, first of all, the adaptation, I enjoyed it. They, of course, embellished on a lot of things in the adaptation, which quite frankly, I think was required to make it the length of a movie. They had to add some additional dynamics.
How do you make this into like 2 hours without embellishing?
But what I appreciated is that they kept the basis of the storyline the same, even his adventures, even the things in the beginning of the book that he was scared of, like, I don't know, the toilet blowing up and, all of these other little quirks and girls, all these other things that he was scared of, they kept in the movie. They kept the storyline perfect, but they just added all of the personalities to all of these characters and a little bit more adventure so that, of course, it would be a 1 hour movie. So I love the way they did that because they were able to add all this other stuff, but hold true to the original storyline. And sometimes that's hard to do when you add in all these other facets.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that just brilliantly. And the way that they had this story go through generations and generations because they added these different characters in the storyline to show the different generations of telling the story about the dark. That was genius.
And that shows that it's relatable, that like, you or I guess the father was reading to like his daughter that like, you're going through this now, or you're actually pretending like you're not going through it, but you're going through it now. I went through it too. And this is how I overcame my fear of the dark.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's a generational like concept that it happens, but also that like, you'll get through it just like I did. And here's how I got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, when they were like, okay, how did he get out of that mess? And so they let every single generation add a little bit of a storyline at the end of it so that it'll keep going on, like you mentioned, but everybody adds their own little twist because I guess it was the grandson ended up at the end.
Yeah.
Adding the fact that he came from outer space or something like that. Save the day. So that was it was really cute. I enjoyed it.
Now the characters, because we had Orion. That was your Jacob Tremblay that you talked about.
Yes. He was, as a younger kid, he was in the adaptation of Dr. Sleep, and he played such an amazing role in that and just gave me chills that I heard his voice and I was like, I know that voice. And then I Googled it, of course, because I Google everything, but I Googled it and I was like, oh, I love Jacob, sorry. But yeah.
So it's interesting while I was watching this, you know how sometimes they make the characters look a little bit like the voiceover person?
Yeah.
At least in my mind. And so while I was watching the dad, honestly, I kept saying that it looked like Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So to find out that it was actually Colin Hanks, it was his son, I was like, okay, this all makes sense to me now. But yeah. Anyway,
and then Angela Bassett as Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a nice cast. They really had I didn't know some of the people, but it just is interesting to me, like, how they choose, how they select the cast for these types of movies.
I really like the son character. His voice was so perfect for his role in this adaptation. He was really good.
And also like I'm sorry to cut you off, but like the whole like night versus like day or dark versus light, like I guess battle, and how every time like dark was like, would take a break because he gets a 10-minute break every hour, or whatever it was called. Again, like looking back at him like, oh, this guy. Like I just did all this work to make it dark and lights coming in. And I don't know why that was like a small concept that I just giggled about the whole movie because I thought it was funny because it's like they are kind of like arch nemesis, but they're both needed to make the world go around.
Right.
Thing. So I thought it was cute.
That little moral at the end, because it was like when it was all light, you would think people would be happy with the sun shining, but it didn't work out so well.
No.
So that was a nice little moral. Yeah.
And then you talking about Insomnia's character. All the little characters were so funny. Like Insomnia, Sweet Dreams.
The sleep one had me cry.
I like the noisy one.
Like
I'm just gonna throw a trash can real quick, or so I can make a noise for you.
With the sleep one, how she had the hammer. It's like hitting people, smothering them with like a pillow, like, and like the chloroform. Like I was cracking up, like the most violent ways to go to sleep. But
something like something a kid would think of. What can we use? What can be because they're always so like over the top.
Yeah, and I feel like it has to be that dramatic aspect. You can't just be like, oh, go to sleep. It needs to be like, if I beat you over the head with a magic hammer, I'll make you fall asleep. But it has to be like that same level of fear. So I thought that was so creative too.
But isn't that kind of how we fall asleep? Because when you're straining and you're trying to watch a television show, and next thing you know, you wake up in this morning, it's like somebody hit you in the head.
Yeah, or just like chloroform to you.
Right, because you're just like, gosh, I want to stay awake. So it's sort of like it does just kind of hit you like that.
And when you think about it, like, well, at least I know when I'm saying, okay, it's bedtime, go to sleep. I can't sleep. Go to sleep. I can't sleep. Like the little ones will sit up and sit up and sit up until you do something a little bit more drastic. Even sometimes reading a book don't do it. But it's like once they're out, they out.
Yeah.
Boom.
And it's like dead weight, like, oh my God. Basically getting hit over the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Basically.
So yes, I love the cast. Like I said, Sleep, how she was like playing cards and all of a sudden she woke up and she won. Just like it brought each aspect of the dark, like with Sleep and Sweet Dreams and all the different aspects. I love how they kind of put it all together. It's like it's teamwork. Like you can't have the Sweet Dreams without the insomnia. Yeah. So even though one night you're going to have a great sleep and the next night you might hear some strange noises, I like how they put that balance in there that like, even as adults, we have it too, but like how kids can actually understand that like it all comes together in one dark night.
Yeah.
Oh, what a way to end that. Are y'all ready to rate this adaptation?
Would you like me to start? Because it was...
Yes, it was your pick, Ray.
No. Okay, well, can you rate it with like a glass of water?
Okay. I will have a full glass of apple juice.
Ooh, okay.
So a little bit of background. Rhea picked this book or this adaptation, and we all were like, I don't know. And then I bought the book because I actually had some wine, and I read it, and I was like, oh my God, we got to do this adaptation. So being that I bought the physical book, nobody could say no. So yes, we are rating it, and I give it a full glass of water, full bottle of water, a quart, liter, gallon, whatever. It's full.
Yes.
From it.
All right. I am going to also give it a full glass of water, bottle, liter, whatever, because it was a great adaptation.
And I feel like because it was such a great adaptation, that gets a full bottle from us.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's going to get a gallon of water. Right?
Get you a Stanley. Not first.
I don't know. Some of us have to.
This was a great adaptation. Please take the time to read the book with your kids and then watch the movie.
It's on Netflix.
And we would love to hear what you think about it and what your kids think about the adaptation. So check us out on Instagram,
Facebook,
TikTok,
at Rewatch Wine.
And listen to us on Spotify,
any single podcast,
even YouTube.
Yeah,
we're gonna get that up and going, but you can at least listen to us.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.